Profile state lawmaker resigns after pleading guilty to 3 felony charges. She misspent campaign funds and forged checks and bank documents when she was supposed to pay the money back.
News 4 confronted Democratic Representative A.J. Pittman today.
I'm sorry, I've been trying to reach out for months, Ms. Pittman.
You can talk to her next week.
The constituents, they have many questions. You spent the money, Ms. Pittman.
She ran from our cameras. Her mom, another former lawmaker behind the wheel, drove away without offering any explanation. And tonight we are digging deeper into those.
About to crash, driving through that snow like that. Misuse of funds, man. You know, you put certain people in positions, and instead of them doing the stand-up thing or the right thing as far as what they're supposed to do, you know, you give them a little leeway, give them a little bit of, you know, authority, a little bit of power, and they abuse it. You know, you give them access to resources they more than likely have never had, and they're abusing. From my understanding, it wasn't even that much money, from my understanding, but we'll see. I may be wrong.
Criminal charges. Here is News 4's Spencer Humphrey.
The criminal case against State Representative A.J. Pittman all dates back to 2022 when the Oklahoma Ethics Commission investigated her for improper use of campaign funds. In 2024, she admitted she misspent nearly $18,000 from her campaign fund as
That is a pretty significant amount to just be misspending. You know, that's a decent amount of money to be misspending.
part of a settlement agreement with the Ethics Commission. In that agreement, she promised to pay that nearly $18,000 back to her campaign and also pay a separate fine of more than $17,000. The agreement required she pay that with her own money, not her campaign's. Fast forward to last June, the Ethics Commission required she make her first repayment of $12,000 and provide proof the money came from her personal account. That's where court documents say she messed up, alleging Pittman had her legislative assistant help doctor a check and bank documents to make it look like she'd withdrawn the money from her personal account. Last fall, investigators with the Attorney General's office served search warrants on Pittman and that assistant's homes. There, court documents say they found a computer with an instant message exchange between Pittman and that assistant, Trina Bias, from the day her repayment was due.
You know, people think they're smart and people think they can just doctor up stuff and get away with it, but, you know, if you get sloppy and you leave, you know, breadcrumbs, you leave a trail of breadcrumbs that lead the investigators, you know, right to the true crime and right to the evidence that they need to go ahead and, you know, get you for the crime. Like you know, you left the messages in instant messenger, and you know, not only that, I mean, they're going to trace back the checks and stuff like that. Like, all that type of stuff is traceable.
Pittman asks Bias for urgent help, telling her she needed a $2,500 check dated January of that year and needed it to match a specific account. Pittman also telling Bias how to doctor a bank statement by blacking out certain parts of it. Bias then asks, "Will this work?" Pittman responds, "Absolutely." Bias allegedly then sends Pittman the image, and Pittman replies, "Sent." Investigators say Bias later admitted in an interview she doctored the check because Pittman asked her to. Both
Of course she's gonna snitch on you. Gonna snitch right on you.
Both Pittman and Bias now face 3 felony charges for conspiracy, forgery, and violation of the Oklahoma Computer Crimes Act. Pittman sent House Speaker Kyle Hilbert her resignation letter shortly after pleading guilty to those charges Wednesday morning. In a statement, Hilbert said in part, "This conduct is unacceptable and falls well below the standard expected of anyone serving in the Oklahoma House of Representatives." News 4 reached out to Pittman's attorneys and also tried catching up with her at her house Wednesday, but neither wanted to speak. In exchange for pleading guilty, Attorney General Gentner Drummond says Pittman will get a 7-year deferred sentence. In a statement Wednesday, Drummond said in part, "Public officials hold a sacred trust with the people they serve. When that trust is violated for personal gain, it strikes at the very heart of our institutions." In Oklahoma City, Spencer Humphrey, Oklahoma's News 4.
Yeah, so, you know, just seen a few of these popping up, and you know, it seems like it's like a lot of times it's the black women who get themselves in this position, and then they just start misappropriating funds or using funds that they're not supposed to, and then trying to find ways to get out of it. And I've done like another story, maybe two. Well, one was a Black Lives Matter, you know, founder. I'm thinking in Oklahoma City, if I'm not mistaken, and then there was a Georgia lawmaker who also was, had to deal with something dealing with money and fraud and stuff like that, and now this situation here. So, and I'm sure it's like plenty more out there, that just haven't, made it to the spotlight, but here we are. And my thing is, what could the money be used on? Shopping, vacations, bills, you know. And if you have the personal money, if you have that amount of money to like say, well, hey, I'll pay it back. Why would you misappropriate the funds that was for your campaign? People are generous enough to donate to your campaign, and you just really just give them your ass to kiss, really, by taking that money and doing what you please with it. So no, I've like she's already pled guilty to it and has a 7-year deferred sentence. So they're more than likely just gonna let her just go about just living her life, and just not allow her to run for any type of office or anything like that again. And that definitely doesn't look good in your resume, at all. So be interested to see what she does as far as a bounce back, um, to get herself going again. Because people make mistakes and stuff like that, but this is a mistake where you kind of you really just shit on the trust of the people in your area. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out. If you like my content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. This is Justin Paul. Peace.